Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome. Good morning. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. A bittersweet day today because baby bird has returned home. So, it's going to be a little while before we see her again. Off she goes back to her dance and back to her life over there. It's so weird when they grow up, I'm sure many of you listening can relate when they are off on their own, living their own life. It's just like, it's weird. I don't know how long it's going to feel weird. I mean, it just happened this year. So I don't know how long it's going to feel weird, but it does feel a little bit weird. So anyway, I'll make it. I promise I'll make it. But oh my gosh, so much stuff happening. Like I know I've said this the last couple of shows that I feel like my head is spinning a little bit with like rapid fire developments in news and things that are moving so incredibly fast. I cannot keep track of the fraud. Can you? So they're just like, it just seems like there's tackling one thing after the next thing, after the next thing, after the next thing. And so I'm like looking at that. And then I'm also like deep down the rabbit hole on another topic right now. So that's taking up a lot of my study time too. And cause I'm just like, I don't know, you guys. I think there's going to be a big, okay. I'm not psychic or anything like that. I can just tell you that I think we're going to see some really big developments around religion. Okay? And I think some of the stuff, that's going to come out around religion and religious organizations is going to be tough for a lot of people to accept. I'll just say that because I'm kind of deeper down the investigative rabbit hole here, and getting into some of the history of some of these organizations. And man, let me tell you, they operate like corporations, and this is like a big way to make money, people. This is a big way to make money with a nice shield around you. Yeah, so brace yourself for that. Brace yourself for that, because I feel like it's probably coming. Anyway, I just want to talk about how they're shaping the culture right now directly related to fraud. Okay? Every single story out here, like it's just a fraud. And I'm like, okay, we had Elon months ago, pulling back exposing a lot of the fraud. And then suddenly he was gone. Now Elon's back. And he doesn't seem to be like, there's no Doge here, but he doesn't seem to be directly involved, but maybe he is. I don't know, because there's fraud everywhere. It's not really shocking probably to you. It's not really shocking to me, but the way they're going about exposing a lot of it, it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Let's go to our first clip here, because I found this one pretty interesting. Just Trump talking about the level of fraud in Minnesota. Here it is.
Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost. Can you imagine? You come over with no money, and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz. The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people.
Fascinating. $19 billion. Can I just tell you how I think this went down? Just between you and I, you're not going to tell anybody, right? Like, I just want to tell you how I think this whole Minnesota thing went down, just because I got to say it. Okay. So, I told you, Nick Shirley, like, neat kid, right? Totally, yeah, innocent and all this. Okay. I'm just telling you. And this isn't even that it's, anything nefarious here. I just got to say how this stuff comes to be. Okay. Because as I've said many times before, like, how much fraud's been going on in the country. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. I know it. If I know it, then certainly Trump knows it, right? I mean, come on. Other people know it. I don't have any inside information here. It's just like, if you got a few brain cells that you can rub together, get a little spark going there with your critical thinking skills, you start to see things over the years. Just living your life. Just living your life in the United States of America. You're going to start, that don't make sense. What's going on here? Well, what? Huh? And then, you just start to kind of put things together and you understand how the world really works, right? Then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Anyway, so this isn't a surprise to you. And certainly the fraud is not a surprise to me. And so I really don't think it's such a big surprise to Trump. The timing is interesting to me. Here's what I think happened. I'll just break it down for you. This is what I think happened, okay? So these larger, like, NGOs, like, I don't know, say Turning Point USA, they have so much money going through them, right? And they have so much influence on the public square, right? They've got all these different influencers working on this, working on that, right? And I pretty much think that when they wanted to, they wanted to take out Minnesota, I think, that this administration, they wanted to use Minnesota to make a large impression on the American people about fraud. And I think they've done it at this particular time because the primaries are coming up and there wasn't a lot of action going on. And I know you diehard Trump people are like, oh, it's been great. It's been pretty slow. Okay. And maybe stuff was working on behind the scenes. I don't know, but not the kind of rapid fire that we've been seeing here over the last week and a half or so, right? Trump came out. He was like, Republicans, you better get your crap together because we can't miss the primaries, right? We can't lose the primaries. Since then, we have seen this rapid fire of exposure of fraud. And so basically, here's what I think happened. I think Turning Point USA is pretty much run by LDS. Okay. It's not good or bad. I'm just telling you. Pretty sure that's who's running them. LDS and maybe some other giant donors, right? And so I think they said, we need to really expose this Minnesota fraud thing, And so what do? They go to their little arms. They go to their little arms of people that, put out stories and run with influencers, right? And they pass this one to TP USA, I think. And I think that, kind of got passed down and selected to be Nick Shirley. And Nick Shirley, also LDS, boom, takes over X, takes over the narrative. All his stuff is everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. It grows. Oh my gosh. And I think that's how these things work. I think people are selected to, because Nick Shirley's a 23-year-old kid. Awesome, right? But like he wasn't boots on the ground there collecting all that data. No, the other guy, the older guy, David, right? He was the one collecting all the data. And so, that's what I'm saying. Okay. It's just like, that's how these things work. And it's curious to me because why this time, right? Well, I think it's because of the primaries, but also I think this was like the kickoff for exposing fraud. This was the kickoff. Nick Shirley's video was the kickoff for exposure to fraud. Listen to this now. We've got fraud in Minnesota, right? It's just like the tippy top of this thing, you guys. Next is Social Security. Listen to this.
All day long here in the Washington, D.C. swamp, who are trying to fearmonger the American people into believing that this administration is going after their hard-earned tax dollars and their hard-earned Social Security checks. So I want to set the record straight on your show tonight, Sean, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do so. President Trump has directed Elon Musk and the Doge team to identify fraud at the Social Security Administration. They haven't dug into the books yet, but they suspect that there are tens of millions of deceased people who are receiving fraudulent Social Security payments. And so their goal in going into the Social Security Administration is to identify three things. Number one, to identify duplicate payments and to end them. Number two, to identify payments that are going to deceased people who are no longer living and should no longer be receiving that money. And number three, to protect the integrity of this system for hardworking Americans who have been paying into it their entire lives. So rest assured to all of the people watching your show tonight, if you paid into the system honestly, you will continue to receive your Social Security checks. Do not buy into the lies from the legacy fake news media who are trying to fear you and
fraud. Guys, where I think this is all leading? where I think this is all leading? And it's like quite the plan, kudos to Trump, because this is quite the plan. But I think what we're doing here is we're establishing fraud everywhere, because do you think that Trump is going to let the 2020 election just, think he's going to let it go? Does Trump seem like the kind of guy that just lets things go? I don't think so. I think Venezuela's about exposing fraud, election fraud. I think this is the whole buildup to exposing 2020. Stay tuned. Welcome. It's Monday, and this is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Welcome back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We still have so many buy one, get one free deals available. Over 25 products still available. You can go to naturallyinspiredstore.com and there's a little tab at the top that says January specials. Click on that. When you get there, you'll see all the different flip book, all the different specials in the flip book there. You can peruse them. I've been going on other podcasts lately. I don't know if you've seen me. Of course, I'm on Red Pill Project with Josh Reed, of course, and I've been on We Not Me recently. And so I have a couple of deals available as well. So if you'd like information on those, just text me 720-303-8868 and I'll extend those to you as well. I have a 6 products. I think it is 6 products for $100. That's, get you started on the right path. So I have something for everybody. Listen, I don't want to exclude anybody. You just have to spend $50 to get into the Naturally Inspired community. That's it. When you're a customer of $50, just $50, you get all of our coaching. You get to attend our Tuesday night weekly wellness workshops, and you also get direct access to my health text line. So this is about a movement to change the medical model. So we make it affordable for everybody. And that's how we're going to change the medical model in this country, is when people actually take personal responsibility for their health and get into something that they can change their lifestyle with for optimum health long term. Long term is the key. So any questions at all, just text me 720-303-8868. Otherwise, visit naturallyinspiredstore.com and take advantage of over 25 products that are buy one, get one free. Let's get back to the fraud, shall we? Oh my gosh. You guys, I could have brought 20 clips with me today as examples of fraud. Okay, so there is stuff on Operation Warp Speed out there, how, people thought that Operation Warp Speed was primarily coming from a pharmaceutical company and experts, when it actually wasn't, right? It was coming from the Department of Defense. So I don't know if that's coming up soon, or, we've been hearing about that from people like Dr. Judy Mikovits and Bobby Kennedy Jr. before he was a part of the administration. But that information seems to be floating around right now, exposing that. What else? Social Security stuff, NGOs, so much SNAP, food benefits. Oh my gosh. So I have this other clip for you too. I wanted to play. The IRS is now getting involved in fraud. Listen to this.
Civil enforcement is auditing financial institutions that facilitated the laundering of Minnesota funds, in addition to helping support criminal and civil enforcement efforts. The IRS will also soon announce the formation of a
Many states right now are scatterbeans. They're scattering around trying to figure out how to cut things and probably conceal a lot of things, because this level of fraud has been going on for a very long time, a very, very long time. And so, I think the people have had enough. I see, and I feel this way too. Don't you just feel like, oh, that's nice. We're over here trying to work hard and, achieve the things that we want to achieve for our families. We're actually going to work. And it just seems like I've said for years, everybody's got a racket. They've got some little system figured out where they're getting free money from the government. Everybody's got this little racket worked out. And I think a lot of this stuff is going to get exposed. And just by exposing the stuff in Minnesota, like I said, scatterbeans, all these other states are probably going to start just, covering things up, laying things low, right? Trying to lay low because they know the hammer's about to come down. Check this clip out. This is another example of fraud. This is Kristi Noem on Fox. Check this out.
We are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised, and that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
And, Madam Secretary, I don't think people fully understand the role that NGOs play, many NGOs play, in facilitating illegal immigration. I just want to share these numbers with everybody up on the screen. We spend over $380 million, did in 2024, for sheltering and service programs for illegal immigrants. But the vast network of NGOs that help facilitate it through Panama, through Mexico, and make it a landing spot here in the United States is a massive contributor here to illegal immigration. So what you're telling us today is that now stops? At least the federal funding of that stops? Mm-hmm.
Yes, through the Department of Homeland Security, we have stopped spending those dollars to fund those NGOs. And, well, what's been so revealing is that many of these NGOs actually have infrastructure and operations set up in Mexico on that side of the border that are telling those illegal immigrants to come to them and they will get them
of NGOs, religious organizations. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I think there is, there's corruption in everything. Okay? This is one of the reasons why I have such a hard time with big groups. I'm not a groupie type person. I'm like, I love community. I love, being social and supporting community and supporting one another. But when something gets really big and, you can just kind of see it going off the rails. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the whole race for a cure when it comes to cancer. I'm just a little suspicious of that whole deal, that whole raising money. Let's like race for the cure, money, but also you're selling donuts. And we outright know that things like sugar, fast food, garbage in, garbage out, right? Like we know that diet has an impact on cancer. We know that. They don't recognize that. So this is my issue. If I know something to be a fact and then I see this cause, this group standing for the cause, but yet they're not even doing the most basic things to help cure cancer, then I get a little suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Same with the American Heart Association and agencies like that. What do you got? What? Yeah, no, Fruit Loops isn't going to be at the top of the food pyramid, right? What are we doing? Right? So, I don't know. I just see a lot of suspicious behavior around these big agencies, these big NGOs. And so, I just get a little suspicious, really. I'm just a little bit suspicious about this. And so when you look at churches, okay, here's what, what really, I didn't have anything against churches. They weren't my jam. These big churches, they weren't my jam, but I didn't have anything against them. Really, COVID really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things around churches because I started seeing churches in my area, big churches, right? I'm already thinking, wow, these are huge churches. How are they keeping the lights on all the time? Because these are huge. It doesn't look like there's a ton of cars in the parking lot, in every parking lot. In fact, some of these parking lots, I never see more than 2 or 3 cars in. So where are these churches getting their money? That's my question. It was always a question. And then during COVID, so many of them provided, injection sites. They took PPP money or PPE money. And they enforced the mask. And they shut their churches down when it's clear and, not supposed to be doing that. So that's when I was like, what's really going on here, And I started kind of digging into churches. And then I started seeing things that were, pretty crazy, even more so. I mean, you always heard about the, Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker scandal. There was always one of those scandals, throughout the years. But I just figured, maybe, I don't know, isolated incidences here and there or whatever. But no, not really. No, not really. When you start diving into it, you're like, oh my gosh. So I'm not saying, your tiny church around the corner and your community is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not painting every church with the same brush here. Okay. But I am saying there is a mega power behind some of these religions. And maybe it's not all about God. Maybe it's actually a very profitable business behind the shield of God. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia, and I'm so glad you're here. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
So many of you are new to Naturally Inspired. You took advantage of the buy one, get one free, maybe last month, maybe a few weeks back. It might be time to reorder your product. So I wanted to let you know that I do personal concierge service for ordering. So if you are just one of those people that like, oh, I can't remember how to get back into my account, or I don't really do that well, reordering myself, or maybe I should try this, but I'm not really sure. Hey, just reach out to me, 720-303-8868. I do concierge service for all members. Jason helps me do that as well. So happy to help you with your reorders. If you need clarity on any of the products that you're using, happy to provide that for you. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com. You can view some of the different protocols there. But if you have any questions or you would like for me to provide concierge service, sounds so fancy. It's actually just you and me talking over the phone, but it's sometimes we just need a little clarity. So text me 720-303-8868. I'm happy to assist you in any ordering that you may need. Fraud, even more so. I think it was last week. Sometimes my shows all run together. Sorry about that, but I think it was last week where I was describing how I feel like we have some distance. Like we have a guide in the Bible, there's a certain, there's a map, right? There's a map about this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And sometimes I think we have some distance between they call it predictive programming in movies and TV, right? Where they show you something and then you see it enough times and then, oh my gosh, it starts happening in real life, right? It's kind of like a priming of the mind. They call it predictive programming. Well, sometimes I feel like because of predictive programming, like we've been exposed to things from a fantasy standpoint, that when they start happening in real life, we have difficulty identifying it. Because we're used to seeing it on a screen. We're used to being kind of removed from it. And if it doesn't happen in the fantasy way that we have seen it so many times on TV or in movies or even online now, it's hard for us to this is what this is. And this is what I thought of when I heard that Trump was he's capping credit card debt. Listen to this.
What happens if the credit card companies don't comply by the January date?
Well, then they're in violation of the law. Very severe things. No, I want a cap on credit card interest rates because some of them are 28, almost 30%, and that people don't know they're paying 30%. The people out there, they're working and they have no idea that they're paying 30%. No way. We're putting a 1-year cap at 10%, and that's it. They know it. They've really abused the public. The credit card companies have totally abused it. I'm not going to let it happen.
It's usury. right? It's usury. And it refers to interest that is considered unjust, predatory, and morally wrong. Ancient societies, including Greek, Roman, Jewish, Christian, and Islamic traditions, widely condemn usury. In the Bible, charging interest to exploit someone in need was forbidden. So if you lend money, here's the quote, "If you lend money to my people, to the poor among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest." That's in Exodus 22:25. Today, usury laws vary by country and state, but generally, interest above a legal maximum is considered usury. Laws are meant to prevent payday loan traps. Remember payday loans? Ugh, those were horrible, right? It was just getting people caught up in it was legalized loan sharking. And might I remind you who's in the business of payday loans if it wasn't your good old-fashioned health insurance companies, because they were raking in the cash so much that they could lend it out. Your health insurance companies owned payday loan places. And they were lending money to doctors as they were denying claims. So they were denying medical claims, denying claims to doctors, right, who were running a legitimate practice. They were not paying them out. These doctors were getting into debt and were short on funds. And so then they would do payday loans for them. A fact. That's a fact. So laws are meant to prevent predatory credit cards, exploitive installment loans. If a state caps interest at 36%, charging 80% could be illegal usury. But people still talk about it today because it's moral. It's immoral to charge this amount of money. And usury equals making money by exploiting someone's financial vulnerability through unfair interest. So I found that interesting because in ancient times, usury was really a problem. And it's a problem today, but we don't recognize it. And so I think it's good that he's doing this. This is going to give Americans some relief. Coming out of COVID, the statistic says that most Americans are carrying a lot of credit card debt. And so hopefully this will offer people a little bit of relief. Again, more fraud, right? More fraud. All the places that we could dig up fraud. I don't know. I mean, I can't think of an institution where there isn't fraud. When I think of education, I think of the teachers union. If that ain't fraudulent, I don't know. These teachers during COVID, do you remember this? These teachers did not want to go back to school because they were laying on the beach in Mexico in some cases, teaching online. Right? Kids, they did not want kids to go back to school. And they had their union representative out there banging on tables, oh, this is for the health of our teachers. We have to protect our teachers. Teachers' education has been hiding behind children for decades. Oh, but it's what's good for the children. Is it though? Oh, yeah, we're going to a 4-day week now because it's better for the children. No. The studies show it's actually worse for the children, but it's better for the teachers. So what happens? Tons of schools now are on 4-day weeks, making kids get up earlier to be at school earlier. They, it's never been about the kids. It's never been about the kids. I hope they audit education next. I hope they do. Because they're going to find a whole lot of fat there. I mean, these teachers, there are so many administrative positions. Like when you and I went to school, we had a principal and we had a vice principal. right? That's all I can remember as far as being in administrative roles. That's all I ever saw. We had a separate counseling department. It was like a student guidance counselors, right? We had a separate department there. And then we had subject teachers. Oh, no. Now we have a vice principal. We have an assistant vice principal. We have a principal. We have a director of athletics. We have a dean of students. We have like the administrative. We have teachers that coach teachers now. They don't actually have a classroom. They just coach teachers. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you name it. There are classroom aides, which I think are very needed. But let me tell you, there is just a little bit of fat that could be cut from education. Yeah. It ain't the money. The money isn't going to the kids. The money is going to administrators of education, I guess you call them. And let me tell you, the titles are fascinating. When you start going through the titles of all these different like, what do you do all day? What do they do all day? I don't know. And forgive me, I know that there are wonderful teachers out there and teachers that actually work in a classroom and, they are up against, the terrible politics, terrible stuff that's going on inside the school. But there is a lot of waste. There is a lot of waste in education. Why don't you actually, we could actually pay, if we cut all the administrative positions, if we cut, half of them, how about we just have a vice principal and we just have a principal and then everybody else is a teacher and we just pay teachers more? Maybe we'd get better teachers. If we could actually say, hey, we're going to pay you a living wage and we want you to be excited about teaching. And so, it gets a little bit more competitive to become a teacher. And let's get rid of some of this fat that they have. And I'll admit, I haven't had any kids in school for a long time because I pulled my kids out to homeschool many, many years ago. And now they're graduated and we're through the school system. Thank God. That's a blessing to be through that. I would not want to have a little one right now with the way school is. You have to find yourself a little conservative corner somewhere in the state that's more conservative. Find yourself a little town and hopefully, you can get yourself a good school there and still get a decent experience for education. But I can't think of anything that isn't so disgustingly bloated and fraudulent. Like, I don't think we should have to pay taxes for years. I don't think our kids should have to pay taxes because of the reparations that were owed. $19 billion in Minnesota, just Minnesota. It's going on in every state. It'll be interesting to see where he's taking this because I guarantee you, this is going to end up 2020 election. Stay tuned. Your naturally inspired moment is next.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. Listen, if you see our ads on social media, would you like them? Would you interact with them, please? We just started. Listen, we were restricted from running ads for quite a long time, if you can believe that, on social media. It was so crazy. I mean, I'm going to write a book one day, I think, about how censored I've been, because I have to get it off my chest. I never realized how awful it feels to be silenced. Because, I never really thought about freedom of speech that much before COVID, of course. I knew it was part of American culture, and I was proud that we had it in our country. But I didn't really understand why it's the First Amendment until COVID hit. And I had my free speech taken away. And it was frustrating. It was very frustrating. And to even add insult to injury, people denied that it was happening, which made you feel a little crazy. Oh, they're not censoring anybody. What are you talking about? And I'm still not recovered from that, just because, it was still, YouTube is no views. And thank you. So many people text. And when I talk to you in person, you always say, I can't believe you don't have more views. I can't believe I don't see you more places or whatever. It's yeah, it's been a real struggle. Thank you for saying that and acknowledging it, because it has been a real struggle. But anyway, we are allowed to run ads now. I'm still not allowed to have a Facebook, but Jason is on there for the show and whatnot. And we started running an ad about a little group that we're going to start. I told you things were going to be different in this year. We're going to do a little bit more. And we just started an ad for our Hormone Harmony group. So if you're struggling with hormones, okay, that hypothalamus isn't working the way you want. You're getting the hot flashes. You're getting all the craziness. And you don't know what to do, and you don't want to do the drug thing, and you don't want to listen. I can help. Okay. So the new Hormone Harmony group is launched. The ads are on social media. If you would like more information on getting started in this group, working with me, naturallyinspiredstore.com, naturallyinspiredstore.com. That's a Hormone Harmony group. I promise you, with a few lifestyle changes, we can definitely get you some improvement in this area. So text me if you have questions, 720-303-8868. Now let's get to our naturally inspired moment for the day. Today I want to talk about the danger of oversimplifying health. Okay? This is a real issue that I think we've been conditioned to respond in this way. When I say oversimplify, I always tell people this, we're synergistic beings, right? Our biology is synergistic. One thing affects the next thing, affects the next thing. And so we really, truly, it has to be a whole body approach. But what we've been conditioned through marketing to think is that, we just need this one thing. We're looking for one thing that's going to fix everything. And this gets us into a lot of trouble, because if we're looking for one thing when it really needs to be a bunch of things that we're doing consistently over time, we may never find the answer. We may never find the answer if we're oversimplifying our health and trying to look for the one thing that's going to be the silver bullet. It doesn't exist. It is a bunch of little things, as it turns out, and it's consistency and it's time. Okay, so the danger of oversimplifying your health. Here are 5 ways we do it and why it keeps us stuck. So once you identify this and you bring awareness around it, oh my goodness, everything changes. Okay, so number 1, we chase a single culprit. Okay, we want one thing to blame. So we want to just blame, say, I don't know, we're overweight because of our thyroid. That's a common one. When in reality, hypothyroidism can account for, 5, maybe 15 pounds. Okay. But there's a bigger picture here. Thyroid isn't just about weight. Thyroid, when you have a sluggish thyroid, fatigue, like there's all these other things that happen. But by oversimplifying it, we're missing the bigger picture, right? So we want one thing to blame, or, we want to blame the food we're eating like it's just carbohydrates. So people go, full carnivore. And, it's fat that we're eating. There's a big, long period of time where people went fat-free, right? Ugh, just terrible for your brain. Terrible for your brain, which in turn was terrible for your weight, because your weight is a brain problem. Okay? It's a brain problem. Okay, so health, so also a new one is cortisol, right? Oh, just take care of my cortisol drinks, cortisol pills, cortisol, if your cortisol is off, then likely like a lot of your hormones are off. Okay, including insulin. So health is rarely caused by one factor. Okay, health concerns, outcomes, that's not just one thing. It's layers. It's layers that have happened over long periods of time through your lifestyle practices. Okay. Number 2, we expect one product to fix everything. We're looking for a pill. We're looking for a biohack. We're looking for something that is going to be the winner. I just take this. I want to simplify it. Our brain wants to simplify it. So if I just take this, it's going to fix everything. Recently, I can tell you, this happened with methylene blue. I can't tell you. I must have gotten 1,000 texts about methylene blue. Now, listen, I think methylene blue is a wonderful tool, and I think you can use it in certain situations. But again, you must have a precise goal with the supplementation that you're taking. You need a goal with it, right? What do I want this to do for me? And it's not going to do everything. Okay? It's not going to do everything. Tools support the body, and you absolutely need tools. Of course, I recommend tools every day. You need tools, but they need to align with your goals, and they need to align with your overall body health, right? If you want to target inflammation, well, that's fantastic, because guess what? When you target inflammation, it's your whole body. That's your whole body, okay? So, and they don't replace, tools don't replace daily inputs like the amount of sleep you're getting, the kind of nutrition you're putting in your body, the movement you do, mindset. I might put mindset number 1, because it is so important. If you are stuck in fight or flight and you are so incredibly worried about your health, it doesn't seem to matter what you do. You can't get yourself headed in the right direction until you treat the fear. You've got to let go of the fear, okay, before you can move forward. So, like I said, you can take all the silver bullets in the world, but like if you're stuck in fight or flight and you are thinking about your health all the time and you're totally worried about it, you're freaked out and you're stuck in fight or flight, then it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to help. So that's why we have to work first on disarming the nervous system and understanding your body's capable, you're strong, your body's on your side, you're not fighting against your body, right? Then you start to calm down. Then we can begin to facilitate healing. And I say facilitate healing because nothing heals. Only the body chooses to heal when it's given the right environment. Okay? Number 3, we ignore the timeline of the body. We want fast results from systems that took years to dysregulate. The body heals in sequence, not on demand. The best explanation of this is I always know when people are starting to head in the right direction, because the first thing they think of is, oh, wait, do I feel better? Like they'll walk up the stairs or something and they'll be like, do I feel better? Nah, I don't feel better. A couple more days go by. Hey, I think those stairs were easier for me to get up. Do I feel better? No, maybe. I don't know. And then the next step is, I think I feel better. And then the next one is, I'm definitely feeling better. But with the pharmaceutical model, you take a pill, right? And it kills your pain. It's pretty instant, right? Within 30 minutes, if the pill's working, you're not going to feel any pain. And so that's the expectation when we are on a healing journey through nutrition, through supplementation, through movement, through stress management. The expectation is this is going to work right now. And that's not how the body got into dysfunction. And so that's not how true healing works. See, the pharmaceutical model, that's not healing. That's covering up. So yeah, it works right away. But when you start working from a standpoint of truly building the stage, setting the environment to get your body to heal, it works in layers. It works in layers. It's like one little thin layer, like a phyllo pastry, right? It's like one layer on top of the next layer of healing, doop, boop, boop. And then pretty soon, 90 days passes and you're like, yes, okay, I am definitely on the healing path now. I know I am, because you start to see the difference. Okay, so we can't expect that healing feels like covering up, because those are two totally different things. So we have to have our expectation right. Number 4, we separate systems that are designed to work together. So gut health without nervous system support doesn't work, right? Hormones without minerals, detox without drainage. The body works as an ecosystem, so not a checklist, right? So if we're I would add mood support in there too. Like you're working on your gut health, you also have to work on your nervous system, right? So activating your vagus nerve, making sure that you are practicing breath work, you are taking time away from inputs, right? Just even some people call it meditation. I say like no inputs every single day. Number 5, we outsource responsibility instead of building awareness. So the oversimplification often comes from wanting someone else to fix us. And true healing starts when you learn to read your body's signals and to respond to them with consistency. And that can be hard without confidence, but that's what a community is for. To give you that confidence piece so you can start really learning how to read the signals coming from your body. Health isn't really complicated, but it is connected. When we respect the connection, the body responds. The dangers of oversimplifying health. We'll be right back for the second hour. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, Text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. Man, the first hour has gone by so fast this Monday morning. I hope you've got your coffee. I hope you are ready. I'm going to dive into some news stories here shortly. But first, if you didn't catch the first hour, you got to go back and catch the first hour after you listen to this part. After you listen to the second hour, maybe you go back and listen to the first hour. We're talking about fraud and just what is the plan with all the exposure of this fraud? I hate to get all conspiratorial on you, but I do think there's a bigger scene here being painted. And usually with Trump, there is, right? There is something bigger coming down the pipeline that we might not see. And I just think this whole thing's been orchestrated. I don't think it just broke free because a 23-year-old Nick Shirley released a video. I just don't, because Well, I know how algorithms work, and I know how orchestrated things are these days, and there's almost nothing that's organic. And let me tell you, there are many people out there like Nick Shirley putting up videos and exposing things that are fraud. You know, there's, I think, like look at Spencer Pratt, right, in California about the fires. That's a huge amount of fraud going on in California, right? Did you hear that story too? That all of the dollars that have been donated to the fire fund, none of them got to any of the people whose houses burned down. So, there's a reason why there's a lot of light on this story right now. There's a lot of attention on this story of fraud. And I happen to believe, I think this is all going to come back to the 2020 election. I think going into Venezuela, capturing their guy there, bringing him over here, I think he had something to do with it. I think we're going to find out that there were some international characters involved in the fraud, along with some key American players when it came to the 2020 election. And I think that's where this is headed. And then I'll go way out there. I think there's going to be some, I think there's going to be maybe an effort. I think there's maybe going to be an effort based on the exposure of the fraud of 2020. And I'm just spitballing here, but I think there may be an effort for a third term based on the exposure of the fraud of the 2020 election. I don't know. I could be crazy, but I think there's a reason, I tell you, this country's run like a corporation. There's a chief negotiator at the table right now, probably the best negotiator in the world. Probably. And I think that things are being negotiated like a business, and you play your card when the timing is right. And I think the timing is now to expose fraud, whether it's for the primaries, which I think it is, but also I think there's a bigger agenda here. And so it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting as we see the layers come off here and more fraud be exposed. So interesting times. There's never a dull moment these days. There hasn't been for many years. One thing for sure, though, is that here in America, we have culture. We have culture, and I know everybody's trying to make us think that we don't have a right to our culture. I was happy to see President Trump has now declared English is the formal official language of America. Our number one language is English here in this country, and that's an interesting declaration too. That just happened, I believe, yesterday or maybe the day before. But the official language of the United States of America is English, and so it's interesting because he's claiming culture. And but here's the thing, a politician can claim culture by making acts like that. But if the citizenry doesn't back it up and participate in the culture, it doesn't matter. A politician can declare that this is the way it is, but unless the citizenry implements it, then it doesn't shape culture. And so we should understand our power in this capacity. I mean, we really have to claim our culture. I think, some of the stuff you see just feels like it's slipping away. And so we have to claim our culture right now. So I've been taking a little time every show just to talk to you a little bit about your culture. And one of the things I wanted to cover this week was about how America has a unique relationship with art. It's not like relationships in other countries. It's very unique to America because America has found a way to make art profitable so that artists can actually do what they love to do for a living here. And that's not the case. I mean, it's difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's a very American thing that they've been able to monetize art. Okay. And we declared it. So America didn't just consume art. It actually built systems that allowed ordinary people to make a living creating art. And that's unusual in world history. Art as work. So in much of Europe, art was funded by royalty. It was funded by the church or elite patrons, and artists needed approval from institutions. But in America, anyone could sell their work. If people liked it, it worked. It survived. If they didn't, it faded. But this created a merit-based art economy, not a class-based one. And this was very unique to America. The free market amplified creativity. American culture tied art to printing presses, sheet music, record sales, publishing houses, radio and film. And this allowed writers to be paid per copy, musicians to earn through recordings and performance, painters and illustrators to sell directly to the public. Art wasn't protected like it was in other countries. It was shared, it was scaled, and it was spread. Also, government support without creative control. During the Great Depression, the U.S. funded artists not to propagandize, but to work. And the Works Progress Administration, WPA, they employed painters, writers, musicians, playwrights, photographers. Artists documented real American life. They created murals, oral histories, posters, and music that still define that area. And that's rare globally. And certainly there was some propaganda in there. Come on, let's be real. America turned culture into industries. So the U.S. didn't silo art. It built entire industries around art. So in the music business, right? I don't know if you've ever read Billy Crystal's book, however many Sundays. It was about Sundays. The number's escaping me now, but it was about the time he spent with his dad on Sundays. And it's just a very cool book, a memoir of Billy Crystal's, but it really gets into the blues scene on the East Coast at that time, because Billy Crystal was kind of raised around it. And so it was very much like jazz artists just hanging out in record shops and then waiting for their time to be able to go into these tiny little hole-in-the-wall recording studios and lay down their tracks. But they mostly hung around in these, record shops and areas that, they just all knew each other in, and they'd go in and cut a track, and then they'd go back into the record. It just seemed like a really cool era where musicians were they weren't making millions, but they were earning a living doing what they loved. And that was very unique to America only. So writing and mass publishing, newspapers and magazines, film and Hollywood studios, visual art, advertising, illustrations, design, and this is why jazz, blues, rock, hip hop, country, independent film all originated and exploded in America. Supporting art became cultural participation. In American culture, buying a record meant supporting an artist. And we were happy to do it. Stand in line for it. Attending a show meant you backed creativity. Subscribing, tipping, donating, patronage by the people. Instead of one king funding one artist and pumping out all that person's work, millions of citizens funded millions of creators. And that's democratic culture in action. This is unique to America. Other countries had great art. They had talented creators, even patron systems. But America uniquely blended free expression, market access, mass distribution, cultural participation, and art became both meaningful but also sustainable for artists. So very interesting. Visual arts paid by the public, not royalty. Some famous artists, Gilbert Stuart, 1755 to 1828. Winslow Homer, 1836 to 1910. This one you'll probably know for sure. Norman Rockwell, 1894 to 1978, paid per illustration by the Saturday Evening Post. He earned a full-time income from relatable American life, and his work was commercial and deeply cultural, proof that commercial success and cultural value coexisted. And we did the same thing supporting writers. So, I always feel like, art is like in Europe, right? Like Paris and France, the French, think that they're so high society and above America with their art and with all of that stuff, right? But in reality, we found a way to make it work and make money off it. In a good way, in a collective way where you liked it or you didn't. And that was all right. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
I was just curious, so I was looking up Monet. His early life, he was severely poor. His work was rejected by the official Paris Salon. Impressionism was mocked and criticized there. Monet lived in poverty, often unable to afford paint, food, or even heat. He relied on friends and supporters to survive, and at one point he was reportedly so desperate he considered suicide. He didn't die broke. He started to make some money later in his life, but his art was widely rejected in the beginning. There just wasn't a place for it because they didn't have the same kind of model, as we do here in America. So interesting. Anyway, interesting. Let's get to some stories here because I've got some good ones. First up, I want to talk about high-dose vitamin D. There's a video. I think it was getting quite a few views. And let's look at the video, and then I'll tell you some other things. Take a listen.
You were taking up to 60 times the recommended dose of vitamin D for your MS. Your blood levels of vitamin D are almost 4 times more than they should be for a healthy person, but you've got your MS totally under control and no other negative side effects.
Vitamin D is a natural immune regulator of our body that if you take these high doses, eventually it will help the system auto-regulate and tell my white cells that my neurons are not the enemy anymore.
Right.
They stop attacking.
That's great that this is going viral. So this is, this is something that has been around for a long time. And I don't give medical advice. I'm not telling anybody to take high doses of vitamin D. I'm not telling anybody anything. Of course, I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. Okay. That said, you need to do the research on this. Okay. I can't tell you how much to take or advise you on anything like that. But listen, this is very interesting stuff here. High dose niacin, let's say. High dose niacin it has been linked to positive results. I have to be so careful about what I say. Let's say positive results when it comes to the blues. You know, when you're feeling down, maybe even, more than just feeling down, there's research on this. There's research on this. So things like niacin, vitamin D. So vitamin D specifically, he's talking about immune system modulation. High dose vitamin D is often used during infection or autoimmune imbalance with people in low baseline levels because it activates immune cells, regulates immune overreaction. This is why deficiency is linked to respiratory infections and chronic illness. High doses of vitamin D and hormone balance and endocrine support. Vitamin D functions more like a hormone than a vitamin. So higher doses support things like thyroid, insulin sensitivity, estrogen and progesterone balance, testosterone production, maybe even helpful for things like perimenopause, right? Menopause, and even metabolic dysfunction. Bone, teeth, and mineral metabolism. Vitamin D increases calcium and phosphorus absorption. So high dose can be used for bone density when bone density is low, where there's long-term deficiency or someone is rebuilding after depletion. Mood, brain, and nervous system support. Low vitamin D is associated with depression, seasonal mood shifts, fatigue, and brain fog. Higher doses are sometimes used short-term for low mood, poor stress resilience, sleep regulation. Also, inflammation reduction, cardiovascular and metabolic health. Let me tell you, just do your research on vitamin D. This is why so many people were talking about vitamin D during COVID is because Americans especially are notoriously low in vitamin D. Notoriously low. Okay. So now what number's low, what's high dose? I have to tell you to do your own research. But if you go right on the NIH website and you start looking up, just type in, high dose vitamin D. I think you'll find some things, pretty interesting things. So there was also another video, and I didn't bring it because I brought so many clips today, but there was another video out in the last couple of days with Dr. Ben Carson. And let me tell you, like, from the top of these, institutions and government, we're starting, I feel like they've been listening to Naturally Inspired all of a sudden. I never thought, these people have been around a long time, people like Ben Carson. And I guess he just never had the support, is what I'm thinking. Or this is new information. I don't know which one. But there's a video going around right now where he says point blank, and this is from Dr. Carson, not from me. He says, I had a friend that was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and, his doctor told him that was it. There's nothing he can do about his type 2 diabetes. But he went and he lived abroad for a few months. And while he was over there, his type 2 diabetes went away. And then he came back to the United States, and guess what? It came back. And so, can you reverse your type 2 diabetes? So the allopathic model will not tell you that, right? They will not tell you that. It's just fascinating when you start thinking about the American diet with the industrialized seed oils, which creates inflammation, right? With the microplastics that we are swimming in. We are swimming in microplastics, and we're wearing them as well. And that contributes to endocrine disruptors. Endocrine disruptors impact your hormones, right? When they impact your hormones, well, then you start getting, lack of testosterone, or you start getting xenoestrogens, which, can increase estrogen levels. Either way, hormones affect your muscle mass. They affect your metabolic health, your ability to process energy. And so that leads to diagnosis of different diseases, right? But isn't it amazing? I mean, these are the stories now that we're hearing finally, right? We're going to start hearing from people talk about, people like Ben Carson and people in these positions that actually you can do something about your health. And I think it was Dr. Marty McCary that said last week, it's no longer going to be a pill for every ill. That's not what it's about anymore. We're going to start talking to the American people about lifestyle. We're going to start talking to them about the food that they eat. And they've already started a mass campaign back for milk. Remember, milk does the body good? Do you remember that? The milk mustache is making a comeback. And the reason being is because whole foods, food that your body understands. So food is communication. When you eat food, that's a communication to your body. When you eat fake food, your body does not know how to respond to that fake food. It doesn't know how to process industrialized seed oil. It doesn't know how to process GMO food. And so much of this ultra-processed food, because our food system has been centralized too much. It's been centralized too much because these megacorps make all our food. And if they're shipping it all across the country, that it has to have a long shelf life. In order to have a long shelf life, you must take out nutrition and pump in preservatives. And that's what's happened. So a big part of the food that's available in the grocery stores today is processed food. And that communication, processed food, is a communication you put into your body. When you eat it, your body doesn't know what to do with it. And so it wreaks havoc on hormones. It wreaks havoc on the amount of sugar that you're taking in is an ungodly amount of sugar. We were never designed to take in the amount of sugar that we take in. So there's a huge shift happening right in front of our eyes. We're starting to hear that it shouldn't be pharma first. Pharma, P-H-A-R-M-A. It should be farm first, F-A-R-M. Whole foods first. You're going to see the return of whole fat dairy. You're going to see the return of beef if the citizenry supports it. Right? And that's the thing. We can have all these politicians talking about this and talking about that. And that's great because it gives people like me who have been working one-on-one with people, it validates what we've been saying. And that's great. But if the people don't pick it up and run with it, then the culture will not change. And so it's our responsibility to pick it up and run with it. So when you're out there purchasing from your grocery store, you're looking for whole foods. You're looking for real food, and you are saying no to fake food. We have to do this. If we do not change the way we eat, we will continue on with 70+% of Americans walking around with a chronic illness. And over 30% of our kids walking around with some sort of chronic illness, whether it's asthma, an autoimmune disease, obesity. Pick the poison, ADD, ADHD. We have a real opportunity here. My prayer is that people grab onto it, embrace it, and start living it. You can do it at Naturally Inspired with us every Tuesday night. Get into the community. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
The Naturally Inspired community. This is where we come together as a community Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. We talk about a different health topic every week, but most importantly, you get support, right? If you think, oh, this is so overwhelming, I don't even know where to start, and I get it because there's so much information online. And let me just point this out as well, okay? Because I really saw this during COVID. You have to be careful when it comes to health in general, health and wellness, right? Because there's actually kind of 2 camps in health and wellness. You have people who are kind of under the health and wellness heading, but they're clearly about aesthetics, okay? And then you have another camp that is clearly about health and wellness, meaning, healthy living, right? Healthy living, longevity, health the natural way. And so if you get caught up in aesthetics too much, you might compromise your health, even though you think you're doing healthy things. I'm talking about the biohackers here, right? I'm talking about biohackers. I'm talking about, injectables and in using pharma to create health in the body. Be careful of that because it's definitely out there. And I realized that during COVID when I saw, health and wellness influencer who is all masked up and taking pictures of themselves getting the kill shot, It's like, what's going on here? As I really realized, oh my gosh, these people really aren't about health and wellness. They're about aesthetics. They're about looking healthy, right? Not necessarily health and wellness. So you have to be careful. In the Naturally Inspired community, I'll tell you precisely what I'm about. It is about health and wellness. And a side effect of health and wellness is you may look pretty good too, right? That's just how it is. But the focus here is health and wellness. It's curating a lifestyle that gives you more energy, that makes you excited about life, that keeps you focused on a compelling future and feeling good because of the habits that you do every day. That's what we're about. So every Tuesday night, we have a workshop. You can join us. Make a purchase at naturallyinspiredstore.com right now. We have buy one, get one free products, all kinds. If you think, I don't know where to start, just text me, 720-303-8868. We'll book an assessment. You can sit down with me. We'll have a little discussion about it, and we'll get you on the right path to optimum health, a lifestyle that you build right? Because you have to love it, and I can show you how. All right, let's get to the next story. Oh, I wanted to say this too. So here's it's not all roses, okay? It's not all roses. Maybe you were thinking, man, she's crazy. She just thinks everything's just perfect. Well, no, we still got a lot of problems. I'm not sugarcoating it for you. There's still a lot of problems here. Marty McCary is, I think he went to San Francisco yesterday, and a whole bunch of pharma planes were landed in San Francisco because they got this big conference going on. This is what he had to say. Check this out.
Hey folks, just got here at San Francisco Airport, really excited about JPM and all the conversations to come, all the meetings and talks and panels. It's a great time to learn and hear from everybody. Also to let people know what we're doing. While I was on the plane, we at the FDA just put out a press release announcing new flexibilities with cell and gene therapy. We are no longer going to routinely require 3 PPQ runs for cell and gene therapy. As an example, it's one of several new flexibilities that we are putting out, and we're going to keep listening. We heard that this was a pain point for many companies, and we're going to keep making reforms and putting announcements out. So looking forward to more conversations. It's an exciting time. CBER had a record number of approvals last month, and we're going to.
So when I see this, I immediately think negotiations. Right? This is what I'm talking about. Like, everything is about business. And we tend to, as just regular people, we think of things, well, that's not right. They shouldn't be doing that or this, or, we think of things as right or wrong. And they're thinking of things from a business standpoint. So think about what's happened recently, right? The vaccine schedule has been decreased. That's good news for us, right? But there's also, they're not shying away from ultra processed foods. They are not shying away from saying, hey, milk is back, beef is good, meat is good. They're not shying away from that. So what are they giving the pharma people, right? Because don't forget, this is an economy. And pharma is a huge component of our economy. So what are they giving them? They're giving them gene therapy. So I said this, that they would never fully come out and say the mRNA technology was a failure. It was dangerous. It killed people. They've hinted around it here. They've taken it off the childhood schedule. So that's a good thing. Like, almost nobody's getting it, hopefully, at this point. But I hope nobody's getting it. But anyway, I knew we'd never get the declaration that this is terrible, because this is way too much money, right? Too much money, too much technology, too much advancement, too much riding on this thing. And so here you have it, right? The big conference. They're taking the regulation down on these things, and they're saying, we're not going to require as much testing. And here we go. So, pharmaceutical companies, I think this was a bargaining chip, that pharmaceutical companies, will not be making as many vaccines anymore in the traditional sense, but there will be products. There will be a lot of products. You can guarantee it, that there will be. All right, something else you need to be aware of. This is just kind of gross, but I thought it would be interesting. Check this out. What's happening to your chicken?
One thing that I just learned recently is organic chicken is what I would always buy, but one thing that they have is 5% retained water. So you might think that you're buying a healthier version by choosing organic, but retained water pretty much means it's being dumped in a chlorine-filled pool, so it can preserve it. Switch to was air chilled. Look for 100% air chilled, and that means once it's taken out, it's just being chilled in here, not being dumped.
Labels matter, okay, but this is why, when I have Dean Lerwick on from Pumpkin Creek, he always talks about transparency, right? That the key thing moving forward for your food to identify healthy, non-toxic food is going to be transparency. And we're going to see, I hope we see this, but if people understand moving forward, how to connect direct to consumer when it comes to meat. So direct to consumer, to a ranch, to a provider for chicken, right, is going to be the way of the future, because it's about transparency now. You cannot, this is why I'm so hesitant about this regenerative label that's coming on board here soon. Regenerative farming label, this is made up from a regenerative. But listen, they have watered down the organic label so much. They have, the lobbies have just picked away at it. And now you could still get an organic label, even though things are grown in plastic, even though, they may not be what you think organic is. It's likely not. And I'm not saying don't buy organic, because I still think there's benefit to buying organic, but buy transparency, buy through transparency, show up at these farmers markets when you can and learn and actually, have a conversation with some of these producers, because these smaller producers are super passionate about the quality of their food, because it's meaningful to them. They are passionate about the quality of their food, and that is who you should be buying from. Somebody who's passionate about the cause of the food, right? Behind it, we go the extra mile. Because listen, it's not all about cheap food, right? That's a thing of the past, right? That we should look for price point. Cheap food usually indicates toxic food. Cheap food equals toxic food. Now, if we buy more from our more transparent providers, right, producers rather, price will come down on those ones, right? If we get into the habit that this becomes the norm, that we buy our meat from such and such ranch, we don't really buy our meat from the grocery store anymore, where there could be as much as 1,300 strands of different DNA in one patty of meat. It's going to have to come down to transparency. Again, we don't need more government to give us labels for regenerative farming, for, super organic, what are we doing? Relying on corrupt entities to label things so that we can trust them again? I think that we proved that system doesn't work. We need to go to a model of informed buying. We need to create competition through smaller providers that say, hey, yeah, we're more transparent. This is what we feed our cattle. This is how we raise our chickens. This is what we do. And then that brand becomes known for its gold standard practices. And then that's how a brand becomes popular and in demand. We have to go back to that model instead. For years now, we've been buying food because it's available. It's not because of the quality. It's all right. We've put up with that too long. It's time to create competition back in the marketplace and shift where we're buying our meat from. Transparency. It's the new organic. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for your health topic.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. I want to remind you one last time to take advantage of the buy one, get one free deal. Over 25 products on there. So you can get 6 products for like $100. 6 products will last you a couple of months. So over 25 products available that are 2 for 1. Go to naturallyinspiredstore.com. You can get, some of my 3 favorites on there, which is part of the health stack that we were talking about, I think, last week, with some antioxidants, some CoQ10, and some omega jellies. You can get 6 of those, so 2 of each, 6 products for just $100. That'll jumpstart you into health and into the naturally inspired community for the new year as well. So grab that pack at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Any questions about it? Just text me 720-303-8868. Want to remind you that I do concierge service too for ordering. So either Jason or myself are happy to help you load your cart and make your purchase if you need any help at all. Concierge service for all members, naturallyinspiredstore.com. All right, for the health topic today, Jason and I were having a good time with this the other day, so I thought, we've got to share this because this will be I'm giving you a challenge. 7 simple ways to gauge your health beyond stepping on a scale. Okay, so number 1, check your neck circumference. Okay, a larger neck circumference is associated with insulin resistance. It can be associated with sleep apnea, metabolic stress. So here's a general reference point, okay? So women, concern often begins if it's bigger than 13.5 inches around your neck. That's an indication of insulin resistance and metabolic stress. For men, the concern often begins at 15 inches. So anything over 15 inches. So just take a tape measure, put it around your neck, right? Just below the Adam's apple is where you want to take the measurement from, just below the Adam's apple, okay? The neck reflects upper body fat storage and also airway health. So it's one of the variables that you can check. Number 2, waist circumference, right? But, don't get cheaty on your waist there. You want to do it right across the belly button, right? Right across, just a little above the belly button. And this will check visceral fat. So waist size correlates strongly with visceral fat, metabolic risk, and also hormone imbalance. So you want to be, for a woman, you want to be less than 35 inches. And for a man, you want to be less than 40 inches. Your waist tells you more than BMI ever will. Okay, so BMI is not that accurate. You want to just get the hardcore measurements here. Waist to height ratio, divide waist circumference, so however big your waist was, divide it by 0.5. And this adjusts risk to body frame and is one of the best predictors of metabolic health. So ideal target is greater than 0.5. Is that right? Greater than 0.5? Less than. I'm not sure. I should have double checked that one before I wrote it down. Resting heart rate in the morning, measured upon waking before getting out of bed. Lower usually reflects better cardiovascular efficiency. Sudden increases can signal poor recovery, stress overload, inflammation, or illness. Measure your resting heart rate in the morning before you get out of bed. The heart tells the truth before symptoms show up. So you want to make sure that you're checking your resting heart rate. Under 60, right? 60 or under is what you want to shoot for, is where you should be at for resting heart rate. Grip strength. This is a funny one. Grip strength correlates with muscle mass, longevity, and nervous system health. So how confidently can you open jars, carry groceries, hang from a bar? Grip strength is a vital sign. So it's not just a fitness metric, how strong am I? Grip strength is a big one to determine longevity. And nervous system health I thought was interesting. Sleep quality and consistency. So track your sleep for a week. Time to fall asleep, like how long it takes you to fall asleep, how many times you wake up in the middle of the night. If when you wake up, you feel energized, because chronic poor sleep often reflects blood sugar instability. I say that all the time. People with insulin resistance, I tell you, I can predict it because most people wake up between 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning every morning. And that's because cortisol is dumping at the wrong time. It's dumping in the middle of the night. So chronic poor sleep often reflects cortisol imbalance and also nervous system dysregulation, which I feel like this all goes hand in hand. Again, you can't work on one without working on all. Sleep is a mirror of internal balance. Walking pace and posture is another one. So observe natural walking speed, arm swing symmetry, upright posture without strain. A slower pace or a slouching gait can indicate low energy production, pain or inflammation, neuromuscular fatigue. How you move through space reflects how your body is functioning. Now, anybody, if you go out in public, I was noticing this the other day, just people watching out there, that there's a lot of shuffling going on, a lot of shuffling. And I tell you, your mobility, if you want to look young, if looking young is a priority for you, you really want to look young, work on your mobility. Because I tell you, I see some young people out there, that you can tell they're young, 30s, late 30s, even 40 maybe. And they're shuffling, limping, moving very guarded. And that's a vital sign. That is something you should be looking at. If you find yourself, losing mobility, it's time to do something about that. Because mobility is at the very top of the list for independence and for longevity. So if you're having trouble moving around, respond to that, please. Respond to that, meaning change your lifestyle, right? Change your lifestyle. How you move through space reflects how your body is functioning. So it should be seen as such. So a few little things there. I think the most interesting one was the neck circumference. I found that very interesting because a lot of people are struggling with insulin resistance. And also sleep apnea is high on the list as well. And so this is just a way that you can kind of check in. And these things, write them down, right? Get on a scale and write it down. So many people are afraid of their metrics. Listen, you've got to face it. You go to the doctor nowadays, Nowadays, you go to the doctor and they can't tell you you're overweight because it's not politically correct. Okay, so a lot of them won't even tell you that you're overweight. They won't tell you this information. They won't tell you that your waist needs to be less than 35 inches if you're a woman and less than 40 inches if you're a man. They're not going to tell you this. They're not going to tell you. But I am. I am, because I want you to live a long, healthy life. And we've gotten so ridiculous when it comes to health. Listen, your health metrics, that's not your character. It's not your identity. Your weight is not your identity. Your neck circumference is not your identity. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. Do you hear this? We have to stop getting so emotional about this stuff because we have such a high emphasis on aesthetic in our country. And thanks to social media, you know, I mean, it was coming already, but social media has turned it into, you know, a phobia for a lot of people, I feel like. Just because we have a high focus on aesthetics, right? It doesn't mean this is your identity. Good news. You can change it, right? If you got a crappy personality, it's a little harder to change. It's a little harder to change that. We can do it, but it takes a lot of work and practice, right? Kind of just stuck with it, you know? But these metrics, you know, that we measure to gauge our health, blood pressure, resting heart rate, how much you're sleeping, the circumference of your neck, the circumference of your waist, all this stuff. Hey, we can change it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with your character or your identity or who you are. Okay? The world was not set up for you to be successful with your health. Quite the opposite. It was set up for you to be a patient, to be a consumer of medicine, to be a consumer of disease management care. That's the way the world was set up. And many of us didn't know that. We didn't grow up knowing that. It's only been in the last, decade or so where I think a lot of people have started to realize this. So it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. If you need help, I'm here. The Naturally Inspired community is here. You can book a free assessment with me, schedule a free assessment at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Head on over there, scroll down the page a little bit. It'll say book a free assessment with me. Get on my calendar. It doesn't cost you anything to get on my calendar. Let's talk. Okay? Come up with a plan moving forward for your optimum health. Now's the time. Now is the time. There's never been a better time. Everyone wants out of the pharmaceutical model. Everybody wants out of this broken healthcare model. I don't hear anybody saying, "Oh, thank you so much for putting me on my 7th medication." Everybody knows inside this isn't good. This isn't good, right? But we settle for that because that's what we're told we have to do. I'm telling you, there are real solutions for health. There are. You can find them. Schedule a free assessment today at naturallyinspiredstore.com. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. Thanks so much for joining me today. This has been Naturally Inspired Radio. See you next time.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.